Okay, today we're going to install a fan shroud on my 1966 Mustang Inline 6-cylinder 200 CI. This is the fan shroud. First thing I'm going to do is move the car back so we have some room to work. So the first thing we notice is that the bolt holes where the fan shroud bolts to the radiator support are not directly across from each other like they are on the radiator. So these won't line up the way they are. So what we need to do is take these brackets and we're going to mount them so that this side is up and this side is down. And that way they will line up. So the brackets that come with the shroud have these connectors that slide on to the bracket. They don't go on the shroud, they go on the bracket. To make these slip-on clips fit the shroud, fit the bracket, just open it up a little bit, then push it on. So now the bracket has the clip. We're gonna just put it over here. Here's the screws that come with it. At first I tried to put the clip on the shroud. Of course it doesn't fit because there's a lip on the shroud. So I figured out the clips go on the bracket, and then we put the bracket on the shroud. I'll make these straight. Okay. Now, if you'll notice, this side is facing down and this side is facing up, and the combination leads to the bolt mount holes for the radiator support are across from each other like they are on the radiator. So now we have the brackets mounted to the shroud, and notice that they go in opposite directions on the same side so that ultimately they line up. This way, horizontally, they'll line up because the bolt holes for the radiator to bolt into the support are horizontally across. So we situated the brackets so they would fit that way. Okay, so the first thing we notice is the fan shroud will not fit in between the radiator and the fan as is. So we need to remove the radiator. So now we're going to start the process of removing the radiator. Put down some cardboard to absorb any extra fluid that leaks out. We're going to use our trusty fluid collector and put it underneath the valve, release valve, which is on this side. Okay. open this valve. Just got to get it started so it comes up by hand. Okay, I'm going to go up and undo the radiator cap. Okay, so flowing a little bit better because we undid the radiator cap. Gonna let that drain. While that's draining, I'm gonna take off the top hose. Can, because we have this collar on here, so I'm going to move the collar a little bit. This collar is a pain in the neck. Okay, we got the collar loose, and I don't know if we'll be able to use the collar again after the shroud is on, but I'll take the hose off. Probably won't want to use this collar again. Looks nice, but it's more trouble than it's worth, I think. Sometimes you twist this. I think it's the collar that's holding things up here. Kind of making it difficult to get the. Okay, I had to loosen the other end of the hose by the thermostat and remove the hose in order to get it off the radiator. This is so tight. I don't know if you can see it, but I got the radiator hose off the bottom. Quite a bit of fluid leaked out, but I caught most of it. When we take off the transmission lines, we have to be careful. There's two. We have to be careful because transmission fluid is going to leak, but we'll catch it on the cardboard. Okay, so we got the transmission lines off. There are two bolts. There's a 1/2 inch and a 9/16. The 9/16 is by the radiator, and you turn the 1/2 inch bolt to loosen the line and pull it out. So we're about ready to pull the radiator out, and that entails removing the overflow line. Of course, we removed the radiator hoses, upper and lower, and we removed the transmission cooling lines. The bolts that hold the radiator to the support are 1/2 inch. We're just going to remove those. Need an extension for the bottom. I'm just going to loosen all the bolts first. we got all the bolts a little loose. I'm gonna take them out. We'll take the top ones out last. This one's still too tight. Okay, take some twisting, get these bolts out. Okay, got one. Get this behind. Got the bottom two bolts out. Now it's leaning on this, so loosen it some more. Got that one. So we got all four bolts. Now we're gonna lift this thing out of here if we can. Okay, gotta go carefully. Okay, it's hanging up on the fan on the bottom. So move the fan a little bit. All right. So we have the radiator oriented the way it goes in the car, with the top hose outlet on the top there. And now we're going to just see if these brackets will line up. And the answer is yes. So it lines up that way. Let me see if I have more room on the bottom if I put it 180 degrees the other way. So what we did was we oriented it 180 degrees and it lines up, and the brackets line up with the holes. So we're going to remove this shroud and put it in the car. Okay, so with the radiator out, we should be able to get the fan shroud inside front of the radiator, but even that is a little tight, but okay, right now there seems to be an issue with the battery. Let me see. This way and then turn it. Okay, so it looks like I have to take the brackets off and put them back on with the shroud into the fan because the brackets are blocking that process. Okay, so it was a bear getting these bolts in behind the brackets. The brackets kind of block the access to the bolts, so it took me a while to get these lined up and to get the bolts where I could tighten the radiator down with these brackets on. But we did it. And we're just tightening up this last bolt. Let's see how little room we have here. Very little room. We're getting it. Okay, so the shroud is in and the bolts are all bolted up and the brackets are all in. This one down here was the hardest to do because it's hard to get to, but we got it. So now all we have to do is put the hoses back and the transmission lines. I'm going to do that now. Okay, we're putting the hoses back in. Got to push this shroud down to here, get the hose on. There is a little bit of space there. Gotta put the bottom on first. Okay, I think we got it. Gotta move the shroud a little bit to get this hose on. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna pry it a little bit so I can get the hose on. There we go. Okay. So now, okay, there goes the hose. Okay. Now we got the clamp. In order to get the radiator in properly, I had to remove the overflow bottle. Now I am putting it back, and rerouting the hose. We got that. Okay, that's good. I am filling the radiator back up. This is a good way to do it with this funnel tube because it allows the air to get out of the system. Being the highest point, air wants to go up, and it's called burping the system. For that reason. Now I do expect to put extra in because I did lose some in the process of draining. Like right now, it doesn't seem to want to go anymore. So I'm gonna have to turn the car on, get it flowing. Okay, so everything is in. The shroud is in. I used a different collar that fit. All the hoses are hooked up and the transmission lines are hooked up, and we filled the radiator. I'll start it up.